and just go absolutely ham with it. And yeah, it should be interesting, Dino. It should be interesting. We can probably try and have a look at the map bans, to be honest, and I think that'll give us a nice little vibe as to where we're going to end up seeing this play out, because that can certainly indicate how much burnage this ban can endure.
Well, we're not going to get a repeat of Coastline. We're not going to see any more Villa. It is going to be Oregon. Old Faithful, the map that everyone knows oh so well and is, your very standard map. And it is, as I consider it to be, the great equalizer of all teams. Coastline, it comes down to the Angels. Oregon, it's a bit of both. It's the Angels and it's the strategies. What else can you bring to the table? But at the end of the day, it all comes down to who can play the defaults, the standards, just the basics of the
Mm.
game the best. And that's going to be a big thing here because both of these teams, Chris, they're currently sitting on 8 points.
This is it
And
as well, yeah.
yeah, whoever wins here. Now, if either of these teams win in regulation, they'll then get 3 points and they'll secure their spot and in the top four.
Mm.
Easy, simple as. If they then go to overtime, we then enter a weird situation where Lost Souls now have 10 points, and if you win in overtime, you only get 2 points. So then we'll wind up with two teams on 10 points, and it'll then come down to the round differential, which could then, if Six Nation win,
Mhm.
mean that Lost Souls actually winds up going through,
Yeah,
which, you know, isn't really what we were thought would be happening at the start of the night, but that's the situation that we're in. So there
it
is a
is.
lot on the line for both of these teams here.
100%. And again, the best thing about this is it's two really nice rosters, to be honest, as well. Obviously, we're being spicy, we're being a little bit provocative,
Why
gets the
not?
people going. But both of these rosters are very, very good rosters, full of very capable and strong players, some more experienced players as well, middled up with some more newer members to the comp scene. New in my eyes, certainly, but um, again, it's a nice even Stevens matchup, and I think that the fact that they're on even points as well, and then they're going to Oregon of all maps, again, this is going to be really interesting. I'm wondering how much it will come down to, maybe someone having the defender advantage. I believe Six will be starting on the defense for this one. So again, I'm wondering how much that is going to play into it as well. Much to think about, really. And again, I'm very curious to see how these operator bans are going to go. I don't think there's going to be any kind of classic target ban going up or anything like that. I think that we're going to see pretty competitive standard
Oh yeah.
bans coming through. Yeah, certainly so.
Yeah, because there's so much riding on this game, some teams tend to sort of default back to a more cautious way of thinking, a more cautious way of playing. And generally in those situations, it'll either be who's the aggressor, who can
Mm.
bring that extra bit of pace and flavor and spice to the game, or it will be who has their defaults down, who has the basics down the best. And these two teams, they're very evenly matched. So there's really no way to tell at this point how this one's going to go.
Absolutely, 100%. And again, it's going to be really curious to see if this will actually go to overtime, because personally, I do think there is a lot of potential for this to go to overtime, which is why, the point earlier about, Lost Souls potentially just overtaking everyone if it gets to that, is very, very spicy. And again, it's almost this idea too that if it starts getting to that point, there's a lot that can go on behind the scenes for these teams where it's like, oh
Oh yeah.
no, hang on a second. If we go to overtime, like it might not even be that we go up at all. Like we could still be in that awkward middle position. Um, so there's a lot there certainly, and I'm wondering. I suppose it'd be interesting if we had like interviews before the game. Obviously, there's a big reason why we don't do things like that, but
Yeah.
it would be quite amusing if we did. But we could only assume what they're thinking right now. Maybe they're not thinking about anything like
Maybe
that at
not
all.
thinking at all. Yeah.
Maybe they're just not. Maybe they're just thinking about Monsters Inc.
Yeah. Just sitting there staring at their monitors, mouths open, just quietly repeating Mike Wazowski to themselves. Um, somehow
always watching.
somehow I think that's not the case, and they're more than likely going to be really trying to lock on in. If I've read this correctly, we do actually have Frenemy starting out on the defense, despite the fact that they're showing up on the blue team. They're just the team listed on the left hand side of the standings, so they're put to blue on our end. So it's going to be interesting. Frenemy starting off with that defender advantage. We're predicting that those operator bans are going to be pretty standard. So that's going to be the Thatcher, probably the Kaid, maybe a Mirror or a Valkyrie. How do you see this one playing out in general? How do you see this one ending up?
I guess if Frenemy are starting on defense, I think if they get aggressive on their defense, especially towards that kind of mid-round time, it could very much go in their favor. Um, and realistically, though, do I think that's going to happen, or do I think that Frenemy are going to play their cards a little bit close to their chest? Are they going to play a little bit safer and by the book? It's really difficult to tell because I think there have been so many maps where they've played a completely different style. They are a team that will mix and match things up a lot. They are a team that will, okay, this isn't working, so we'll try this next time. Oh, this is what this team does, so let's do this. And it's a team that thinks a lot, and sometimes that can be not as beneficial. So I'm hoping it's the right kind of thinking, overthinking, I guess, right now. At the same time, for six, I think they're completely exactly the same. I think that they have a tendency to be like, "Oh, this is our playstyle. No, this is our playstyle. No, this is our playstyle." And again, maybe a little bit of overthinking in parts, especially when it does get to the more hot round differential between certain matches. I think there's moments where you do see people kind of, in terms of their movement and the things that they do, it's like, are you overthinking here? Are you thinking too much? Again, that maybe it's just me being pedantic, and maybe I'm just assuming that's what it is when I see people do these things. But I do know how much overthinking can impact players sometimes. So um, again, an even Steven scoreline. This is what I mean. This is like 100% what I mean, because it is just like you can't. I don't think realistically anyone can predict how this is going to go. Certainly, Frenemy signing on the fence will favor them, though. That's what I'll say. That's where I'm at with it, 100%. Uh, if Frenemy win because of that slight advantage, then that makes sense. But otherwise, I think potentially overtime incoming.
But then we've already established if we go
Mm,
to overtime, Six Nation, they basically already out of it at that point.
mm.
So that then makes this really, really spicy because
Could be a down with the ship kind of situation as well, which
yeah,
makes it even spicier.
because if Six Nation win in overtime, it stops Frenemy from being able to qualify for the playoffs as well. So there's a lot to play for regardless of what happens. I do think overtime could be on the cards. I mean, if we look at the teams that these guys have beaten before, Six Nation has beaten Nemesis, Lost Souls, and Gypsy Queens, who, sad to say, are the teams at the bottom of the leaderboard. Someone has to be. Whereas Frenemy, they won their first three games against Gypsy Queens and Nemesis. But then that week three game on Cafe, they were able to take down Sparkle Team, who, while we've seen, bit of a slip in form today, they were just dominant the whole way through the season up until this point.
Mm. But this is what I mean sometimes with them. I think they do overthink. It's overthinking. I really do think that's the issue here. Like, it was such a strong roster. Like, generally, at one point, I was like, are they just gonna stay in like the top like the entire time? Is that a thing that's gonna happen? And then it just like, yeah, something like kicked in where it was
Hmm.
just a bit of, I don't know what it was. Again, maybe we'll get the opportunity to have a little cheeky interview discussion about that later. But yeah, ultimately, only time will tell how this will go. Only time will tell. And again, I think it's interesting because both sides are obviously having a roster change, but six throughout this majority of the season, it feels like they've had the most roster changes really of any team. AJ left at the start, and then I believe Midnight is now not in it.
Hmm.
Lots of jiggling around, lots of zhuzhing, lots of jiggle, and I think it can be slightly difficult to fully concrete a team into a, I guess, sweat fest Because of that, you need time to iron out the nooks and the crannies. You need time to gel together as a team. So, um, we'll see what happens tonight. And again, the thing is, Dino is like, regardless of what happens, there's always season two.
Yeah,
Like
absolutely.
that's that's like the point blunt, fact of it. There's season two as well, and this being the end of regular season, even the teams at the very bottom of the table right now, it's like okay, fair enough, but like this is probably around the point where I'd be like, let's start thinking about season two and absolutely going mental and scrimming to the nines. But I mean, I'm a
When
sweaty
aren't you
tryhard.
going mental though?
This is the thing. Okay, I knew you were gonna say that. I know I'm a sweaty tryhard. Okay, but like, there's a. I feel like that everyone needs a little bit of that zang zest, lemon and limes.
Well, we are just waiting for the last player to join the lobby so we can get these games underway. We're not just talking for the sake of it.
Yes.
But as we look ahead at the other games coming this evening, so we'll have Gypsy Queens going up against Randy's. Now, Randy's, they've already secured their spot in the top four, so that game doesn't mean a lot to them. But for Gypsy Queens, it means quite a bit, as a win there would give them 9 points and potentially keep them out of relegation, which, you know, is definitely something that they'll want to do. They would need a 3 point win and for this game here to not go to overtime for that to work out because if you lose in overtime, you're still given a single point. Nemesis, unfortunately, they haven't won a game so far this season, so they've not got any chance of staying in this top league without having to go through relegations and fighting off those teams from the second league, which, still a lot more action, still a lot more spice coming your way. Just because the regular season is going to end today for this league doesn't mean that all the games will stop and you'll never have to see our faces again, which I'm sure some of you might like, but tough.
This is the part where we just like sneakily work out a way where every single player gets a cardboard cutout of your face as like a little, there's like little like masks you can get, which are like the queen's head and stuff. But it's just
Yes.
it's your head
I like
instead.
that. We should do that.
If any players would like a cutout of Dino's face,
We will get this done.
DM
You will
me,
receive. You will
DM
receive.
me, and
Yeah.
I will send you a cutout of Dino's face. But yeah, as Dino just said, we are just waiting for the players to get in the lobby. The classic standard. And again, classic standard, Oregon. I mean, I have to say I am disappointed, but of course,
You just won 4 games of Coastline on
I
that.
do, I do.
This
Okay, what's wrong with that? Or at least like maybe throw in a chalet. Like I don't know. The attacker favored maps are just the best kind of maps. They're so aggressive, because again, to deal with the fact that you are going with that attacker sided favor, um, meet that with aggression as a defender. And it's just barn burners are us. Barn burners are us. I'm just gonna make a shop called Barn Burners are us, and it's just gonna be pictures of coastline in little tiny frames. But yeah, I would have liked it to go to coastline genuinely, and I would have liked less Oregon in general, but we're always going to have Oregon. It's probably one of the most favored and picked maps throughout any league at this point since it had its little cheeky rework as well. A very, very nice rework, may I add. I'm not, knocking it at all. I do think it's a nice rework, but people just love playing it for that reason. It's so even and balanced and pleasant to defend and attack. So, you know, not surprised, disappointed, excited still though, excited for the upcoming hopefully tamed chaos. Is that a word I can use?
I think you mean controlled aggression? That's
Yes.
yeah, tamed chaos is like a cooler it's like controlled aggression but wearing shades.
Tamed chaos, but it's like, yeah, sunglasses version.
Yeah.
We have just had confirmation that the final player is indeed in the lobby, so we will be getting stuck in. You don't have to listen to us talk anymore. Well, you do have to listen to us
Yeah.
talk because we are going to cast the game, but you don't have to watch us anymore. Uh, which you might be favorable for. Maybe you'll miss our faces. But
Who
yeah, we
knows?
will be.
Who knows?
Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Indeed. Um, and we are about to get in.
Just waiting.
It's the part where it's just like, I really wish that I don't know, we had some more fun graphics to show. I mean, I can continue showing you the Lost Souls jersey,
I mean,
but
I was gonna say, do you know? Can you
very
juggle?
nice.
Can you juggle?
No,
Just start.
no,
No.
but I will. Okay, here we are. So I'm just gonna go on a mission to get as many jerseys as possible. Six Nations, send me a jersey. Um, match has started, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get stuck into it. Frenemy versus 6IXNATIONHQ on Oregon of all maps. And yes, indeed, Dino, you are correct. Frenemy starting on defense here, despite bringing it here. So they've got a plan up their sleeve. And how will Six Nation react to it?
Now, well, first ban obviously goes to the defenders as you're getting rid of an attacker first. So this is probably where we'd see the spice come on out if we were going to see anything out of the norm. And yeah, that's a little bit out there. The Flores, not typically seen banned outside of Cafe, but you're going to see that play be brought here on Oregon.
Yeah, which you know what? That's fair enough because I think it's then indicating to me the amount of utility setup Frenemy are prepared to do for this first 6 rounds. You know, they are indeed starting on defense, and when you are starting on one side or the other, it's always favorable to kind of look at what they're banning out for that because it can indicate sometimes, not always, but sometimes, how they're planning to play that. Again, if you win 6 rounds in a row off the bat for the first half of this game, very little legwork you have to pull in at the end. At that point, the chances of a reverse sweep are very, very, very low. Again, the Thatcher and Valkyrie being banned out, very standard bans, taking those EMPs off the board. There's that Kaid as well. So again, that makes complete sense. Complete sense. Six can still use the Maverick as well if they wish to, but again, it's going to be a lot easier if Frenemy do go to their attack to actually have the Kaid removed. So you can go not only for those Mavericks, Dino, but also the verticality every single site bar that basement site. So already off the bat, it's looking to be an interesting one.
Yeah, I mean, an interesting pick for me is we're going to see Straub on the buck for now. That might get sixth off because there's not really a lot that you can do with a buck on this objective. On this site as an attacker, it's actually going to be the Monty that gets switched off to the Nomad. So they're going to have to find a use for that skeleton key somehow. But this is generally why bringing Sledge is or Zofia is considered to be the best way to start off, and then when you know that they're going to a site where Buck's effective, that's when you start to bring out the Buck play. But Straub is going to have to find a way to make do in this round, as we are going to see what looks like a pretty standard setup coming through from Frenemy.
I will say as well, we were getting teased a bit by Six there with the Monty, the Lion, a few little this fan and the others, and curious to see if the Lion will make an appearance, actually. Again, not really seen too much on this map, but if we do, it's usually because they're trying to go for something very fast-paced and aggressive and direct. But again, the Flores ban coming through from Frenemy, it does sound like they're going to absolutely stack utility. So very curious to see where people are going to end up playing and what utility they are plunked behind, presumably nice and safely.
Is there such thing as safely in this game? I feel like not really. You know?
I mean, depends. With certain the new OSA operator, that could be quite interesting when that's in the competitive map pool.
Oh yeah, that's gonna make some interesting clips, that's for sure. As we are gonna see 6IXNATIONHQ, they're clearing out this top floor. The one player who was roaming around here is just gonna get gone and get out of there and all the way down towards the freezer stairs, and potentially just gonna hold on to that for the time being. But 6Nation wasting, or spending, I'd say, and yet to see whether it's wasted, a full minute clearing out this very top floor. And the site's in the basement, Grace.
Do you know what though? Like, fair enough, because again, like both sides, and we noticed it then with the immediate fallback of the roamer upstairs. As soon as they knew people were coming in, they just dipped. They dipped out of that. Both teams, they want to win this. They are being so cautious right now. Yes, perhaps some of it is overly cautious, and well, you want to be overly cautious when you've. There we are. You're gonna have to move yet again, but this is what I mean. It's that time waste. Yes, there's caution, but at least there's a little bit of time waste. Waste as much time as possible. Run that clock down. Time is the sixth defender, you know.
Yeah, but caution always fails the defender because, like you say, time is the sixth defender. So if the attack is being cautious and careful and taking too long. I mean, Diffuser's still on the top floor. We are starting to see the rest of the players work their way down to the middle floor and start to challenge on these stairwells. But you've only got a minute left to really go for this play. If a smoke was on the board from FRENEMY, this would basically be a done deal. Instead, we've only got some C4s available, and just the ability to hold onto this basement site, trying to challenge down individual stairwells, because with more than 2 minutes gone, 6IXNATIONHQ haven't opened any reinforced walls. They haven't opened up blue. They haven't applied pressure onto there. It's going to make this really, really difficult for them to close out.
Absolutely. Nearly 30 seconds and nobody has died. That is... I mean, I think that's a first for this league, actually, as well. Oh, well, there we go. Jess is going to be the first to fall for a bit. I see we're getting the pick there. Lovely use of utility there as Lisa pushes. Ooh, but Healer manages to get the 2K, but she's traded out by Asira. But that was a really beautiful, good job. And this is what I mean about leaving to the end. That collapse comes through. Deb taking down Asira. And Sunja and Claudry, it's all left down to them. And there we go. Defenders winning round number 1. It is unfortunate, again, the time that both teams, the caution that both teams were bringing out then, it certainly does favor the defenders more, because as soon as that collapse starts coming through, you get someone like Healer to just suddenly turn around and be like, do you know what? No, I'm winning my ones today. And just absolutely cleaned up. That could have gone. The thing is as well, that's so important. Healer in that pillars area basically, essentially, like, won that for FRENEMY, in my opinion. We saw Lisa coming to push, and I believe it was Straub from the back as well. And it could have been very intense for Healer there. It could have been, because that's going to come through so aggressively at that point because of the timer.
Attackers need
beautiful
to locate
work
and
there.
defuse
Beautiful
as many
work
bombs as they
indeed.
can.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, you know, some players on Twitter, some of the pro players are saying that with these proposed changes to Castle, the introduction of Osa into the next season, that, you know, we could wind up seeing a return to the 20-second meta.
Yes!
And, I mean, 6IXNATIONHQ not even waiting for those changes to be released before they start trying to go for that, as that was 2 minutes and 31 seconds before the first bit of action came through. And
10 seconds remaining.
That's not any walls getting opened up. That's not any kills, any fights, or anything. That was 29 seconds to go, and they started trying to attack the objective and deal with these actual defenders, which is just never going to work. It's never going to work. You have to get things going at about the 2-minute mark at the latest.
Absolutely, 100%. And again, I mean, already I kind of feel like there's one part of me that's like, well, I don't really want the rest of the game to be like that, where everyone's just being overly cautious for a majority of the round, and it is coming back to that, like, last 20 to 30 seconds. But at the same time, that last 20 to 30 seconds is so intense and so chaotic that it does almost make up for it in a way.
Well, looks like 6Nation aren't going to repeat the mistakes of the last round, as they are trying to get aggro with it already, trying to deal with these players up inside of the dormitory and attic, as Marie wanting to try and get aggressive. It's going to be Deb rotating and crossing. They might not be aware that Marie is here as well, so could overplay and miss out where one of these defenders is, as we are going to start to see a bit more hard breach utility used after Lisa had already used some over towards the attic wall. There's going to be Foxtail flanking up from tower, going to be able to get that first kill onto Lisa. Straub turns around to try and deal with it. Needs to get the timing right on the peak, the close range. The Scorpion normally so good at that, but not when you're looking the wrong way. There's going to be Marie to get the kill onto Sunja as well. This is now a 4 versus 3 in favor of the defense, and Straub is on incredibly low HP.
Sarah picking up the diffuser again, and it's very, very chaotic already. And, you know, fair enough, yes, a bit more time. I'm wary this time, but again, FRENEMY aren't actually backing off. They're like, no, we are just going to try and win our ones here. We're not going to try and back off. We're not going to try and go for... Oh, beautiful shot there by Deb. Can she pick up her teammate? No, cannot. There we go.
Now Deb able to get one, the trade coming through, and then Nomad looking the wrong way, making it an easy kill for Marie. And FRENEMY, they're not really feeling like they're being tested at this moment in time. I mean, in the first round, there was a moment where if Hela didn't get both of those kills, then, you know, that could have been a Six Nation round and they could storm on through. But beyond that one moment of play, Six Nation haven't really put the defense under any sort of pressure.
But it's the thing, right? Because the first round, you know, that extended hold, that extended roam, I think it was Jess. I don't know if it was, though, so I'm not going to fully commit to that point. But
Defenders
the
protect your
player
bombs
it
from being
was,
defused by
they
attackers.
kind of pulled down that white stairs area. And very, very quickly, as soon as his drones started coming through, they were like, do you know what? Nah, I'm just going to fall back. It was such a like passive and safe way of playing. And then that last round, it was like a polar opposite idea. And this is what I mean about the constant mix of like how they want to do things. And I think showing up each week and doing something different, that's when it gets a little bit like, okay, a little bit confusing. But when you're doing that in-game, it becomes even more confusing for the attackers. And they're the ones that are trying to like adjust to whatever playstyle you're using, whatever things you're bringing to the table. And you keep throwing new things at them and being like, oh, well, we were passive last time. We're going to do the same this time. Psych, you fought.
Attackers must locate and defuse
I think
the
it
bomb.
works really, really well. Really well. And again, the fact that that flank wasn't caught is incredible. I'm not sure whether maybe there was a flank drone, nobody was checking a flank drone, or you know what happened there. But having something like that can just cause chaos. Of course, yes, they did get taken care of in the end, but it's just that initial bit of chaos and applying pressure to the player. I believe it was Straub in Attic, where they're like, "Oh no, I'm kind of pinched now, and I have two operators either side of me that are going to try and kill me, and I have to really mind the direction that I'm looking in."
Yeah, much better time coming through though this round for Six Nation, although the kill's not going to go their way as Foxtail going to be able to get that kill onto Asira and get on out of there, only losing a little bit of health in the process. Actually able to cross trophy as well. No one was holding the door at that precise moment in time, meaning that this rotate wasn't caught. Mizo is going to start opening up this attic wall. Straub was nearby to assist. I don't know if she's holding the stairs. Yes, Straub is just going to be hard holding those stairs, which means that Jess could potentially go for a big play here. No one is in a position to deal with her.
Oh, this could be an upset. This could be an absolute... Oh, and it is! It is an upset! Straub is going to fall. There we are. She gets one. She gets a second. Sunja's going to take down Marie, but there we go. Yes, taking out Lisa as well. It's all left down to Sunja and Claude Bree now. Deb on the flank as well. Oh my goodness gracious. It's an absolute cleanup in that big tower area. Sunja making her way through the bedroom. Going to get a little bit aggressive with Claude Bree towards this trophy area. I think it's the only thing they can really do at this point. I think that wall into the closet is nice and dealt with, but there we go. Speaking of dealt with, Foxtel is going to deal with the remaining players of 6IXNATIONHQ, and now there's another round going in the favor of the defenders, Dino.
Yeah, and I mean 4 kills came from not looking the right way, or not being prepared. I mean, Jess was sitting up on top of the box inside of Attic. That is one of the most ranked spots I can think of.
This is right.
And it works for 2 kills. And then Foxtail at the end of the round walks out of the breach that has been opened by the attackers inside of games and gets the last 2 players.
But this is what I mean. There's such a variance in the way that they're playing this aggression for FRENEMY. Like they are constantly changing it up, mixy matchy, and these flank drones. I'm slightly concerned for the side of 6 right now. I'm like, okay, are these flank drones actually here? I'm assuming, for one, that they are. I am just saying that potentially people aren't checking them. Or again, that spot that Jess was in, I'm just curious as to whether, instead of maybe peeking down that way, maybe send the drone in first. Maybe you pull down the stairs a little bit. And the fact that, the thing is, do you know, right, okay, I'm just going to say, the gall, the absolute gall, okay, of Deb to be like, I flanked them once on this staircase, let me do the same thing again. The audacity.
Just go for it. Why not? But, I mean...
I respect it. I respect, from one goblin to another, I respect him.
Attackers are moving out.
I'm just trying to think in my head how you could change that sort of attic take up, because you're trying to drone through there, unless you're sending the drone through the attic window, it's going to get caught on the electric wall. So you would need to send Straub down below to, but you can do that from the, yeah, so inside of tower, you can hook out the top of the wall into meeting and get the bandit wires off. So then you can throw a drone through safely. And yeah, that sort of makes things easier. It's not something that you see happen quite a lot at the top level. It is something that requires a lot of pieces in place. You need to be holding all the flanks on drones at the time that that's going on. But that's sort of the ideal way to go about it, if you ask me.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. Or at least, yeah, just a bit more utility investment, especially in terms of drones, and just making sure like people are checking. I'd want to hear that. I'd want to hear, okay, I'm on flank. You know.
Hmm. As it
Especially if
is.
they're being so bolshy with it, you know, so bolshy.
We're seeing a similar thing happen to what we saw happen in the very, very first round. They're taking a lot of time to work their way on down, and Straub might get caught out here. Ella holding on to these stairs. The drone didn't spot. Unless there's intel coming from somewhere else, that's where Hella is playing. Straub could be in for a very rough time of it, as Foxtail's actually going to get that kill onto Straub, who's trying to work her way on down the stairs. Claudebury looking around and just finding lots of barricaded off doors. This is going to be a difficult task for 6 Nation to try and push.
Absolutely, 100%. And again, it's time is of the essence, to be honest, you know, and they need to start getting a little bit of a move on. Asira deciding to peek onto this Frost actually manages to get the down off, but again, they're going to know that there's that push coming from that pillars area. Someone's going to retaliate. Suitably, they're going to start moving towards that pillars area. A few warning shots getting fired. The Surrogate is there as well, though, on that double doorway. So that's, again, a nice little bit of utility investment to prevent that push from all sides.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Sunja on this top floor with the Hibana has gotten that electrical hatch on open, which is going to give them an avenue to drop on through. But everyone on the side of 6 is just hiding inside of the site, shotguns at close range. And Asira getting a little trial run of what's to come if she tries to run on through that doorway. The C4 is going to get thrown on out, but catch nothing. The bulletproof cam actually going to catch. Well, the ADS is going to catch that Gone 6 start that's going to go on through, and now 10 seconds left to go. They just have to push. Sunja gets one onto Marie. Claudebury as well with one onto Deb. This is now the defenders at a disadvantage, but the time is so low. Sunja goes down with the diffuser, and it's going to be the peak from Hella at the end, as Jess has gotten the down onto the player planting, and that is going to be another round going the way of FRENEMY. 4-0.
4-0 indeed. Believe we are going to have a little bit of a timeout yet again. So welcome back to our faces. So far, looking absolutely brilliant for FRENEMY, to be honest. Again, though, I will say the momentum is constantly shifting between these two teams. It goes slow, then it goes aggressive, then it goes slow, then it gets aggressive. Again, I think FRENEMY are doing a very, very good job of basically being the ones to control that momentum. That's slightly worrying for 6 because when you're allowing, it's kind of like watching two people dancing and one person kind of has to lead, don't they? It's that kind of idea. It's like, okay, the defenders, they're leading with this kind of style right now. We need to adapt very quickly accordingly. And it's not quite coming through the way it could be on the side of 6. Again, maybe a bit more intel utility investment needs to come through as well because they are getting caught a little bit off guard by things that potentially they shouldn't. Again, curious to see if maybe they brought like a 0 to the table, how that would shift things up as well.
They just need to get aggressive.
Mm.
This is kind of what I was talking about. Playing over passive.
But this is it though, like, because I think
Even
maybe
if FRENEMY
they're
plays
a bit
passive on their attacks, they're gonna have such a round lead at this point that they can play around for a bit.
No, this is it. If it goes the full 6-0 to FRENEMY, I think we both know how that's going to end up. But
Yeah.
I feel slightly disappointed because I did think this would be a lot closer than it actually is. Again, I thought this would be, you know, maybe round to FRENEMY, round to 6, round to FRENEMY, and I thought we'd see that all the way through to overtime. Thus far, looks a little bit uncomfortable for 6, just based on, you know, tiny, tiny mistakes that they seem to be making. It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Again, they are choosing to go to Meeting Hall Kitchen, the superior site.
Attackers need to locate and defuse
And
bombs.
again, I'm assuming that they're going to have that extended hold on the upstairs. And again, well, I say again, last round they did this. They didn't actually fall back very quick at all.
Attackers
They
have
stayed
located
there.
a
They
bomb.
stood their ground. They tried to win their ones, and 6 were the ones that kind of got a little bit rattled by it. Maybe 6 needs to come in with a little bit of aggression here. Very difficult, of course, when potentially you are saving your utility in your pocket for specific tasks, such as, getting rid of ADSs, getting rid of magnets, things like that.
10 seconds to insertion.
Would potentially be nice to have a bit of utility to deal with the aggression from the defenders right
5
now.
seconds left.
They do have the air jabs. They do have the air jabs.
Attackers are heading
but
out to
it's
defuse a
not the
bomb.
same as scorching the retinas of your enemy so you can swing all kinds of angels on them,
I mean, we do have 9 flashbangs on the side of 6 Nation. It's just being countered by the fact that we have Deb on Jaeger, Ella on Wamai, and then Jess on the Aruni, which means that any given doorway could stop 3 pieces of utility at once, if not more, and just really absorb everything that, 6 Nation wants to throw at them. And it requires a much more concerted effort and push as a team, as a unit, to really be able to pull this off and, get these attacks going successfully, as we are going to see them go for a more direct tower take this time around, understanding that the top floor control, it is there to some extent, but maybe you don't need to attack it directly. Athena with the Gemini hologram is going to walk on down the hallway and see what she can see as one of Clawbree's head just gets taken out. Foxtail caught me off guard as well as Clawbree, but it's going to be Clawbree able to come out on top and get that kill. One of the first times that 6 Nation have gotten a kill early on and maintained the man advantage.
Yeah, I think that caught Foxtail off guard, to be honest, as well. A little bit of a surprise whiff there. Again, they're having to deal with this player that is at the very tippity top of this attic area. That, again, this is what I mean sometimes. You may open rear stage, but you need that attic control. This is a vital part about going for that execute onto that stage area. You need that top floor. You need that attic control so no one can kind of rain death from above at you when you go for that plant.
Zero, though, able to get the kill onto Jess, who's getting aggressive on the green hall. They've been able to take out the mute jammers, so this wall at the backstage has been open on up, and with Clawbree holding down the attic angle, does mean that attic control isn't really on the side of the defense. As the Zero wanting to move on up and get aggressive. There is an SMG-11 close range potential to shred through, and that's going to be Marie able to do just that. It's Zero off the board as now it's up to this mute, able to get a kill at long range. Clawbree going down. No one's holding the attic angle, but it is going to be Sunja able to get this plant down successfully at the back of the stage. Prone trying to hold the angle as Deb has rotated around to come and give some assistance. Now with the attic control firmly in the hands of the attacker, and Lisa able to get that kill onto Deb. It is just Marie left in a 1 versus 3. Nice angle being held by Lisa, and that is going to be 6 Nation using that tactical timeout to great advantage, able to come back and win a round.
Absolutely, and again, very surprised that control just basically was handed over towards the end of it, wondering if that would have potentially prevented the plan from going down in the first place, or at least that would have been called to an extent. Maybe a bit of overcaution in that attic area from the defense there. Moving on though, 6 getting a round on the bag. If they can get another one in their pocket, that is a nice way for them to go into their defending half. It's only 2 more rounds to even Stevens it out. At the same time, FRENEMY will want to be getting as many rounds as possible on this defense. So we'll see what they're going to do with it. And, right now, what they appear to be doing is bringing a Capcan.
Attackers need to locate and
More
defuse as
Capcan.
many bombs as they can.
I'm liking it. I'm liking it.
I think it is because of the change.
I'd like to think so. At the yeah, I mean, we did see when they initially changed Capcan from a 1-speed to a 2-speed, when he had more traps, and even when they became non-lethal, we saw a lot of Capcan get played in that moment because it just catches you off guard. You're not prepared for it, and it makes things just more difficult and annoying for the attackers. And I wouldn't be too surprised if we see a little bit more Capcan to be played before the season is fully over and done with. Of course, we still have the playoff best of 3 matches in a double elimination format taking place over 3 days, the 29th, 30th, and 31st of October. So still lots more action to come your way from Project Athena, as we are going to see this round get started off, and 6 Nation trying to close out this half with another win.
Absolutely. Getting into it then. Again, curious to see how they're going to try and push this, because a lot of that utility is set up the classic kind of, you know, bedroom take. Be interesting to see if they started to get very, very aggressive on that bedroom window as well. But again, this time, hopefully they've learned their lesson when it comes to this attic area. Hopefully there was a little bit of a flank counter situation set up, and already Jess falling to Straub.
Yeah, Lisa knew what was coming, pinged out the spot for Straub to stand and told her, just look through here, you'll get a freebie. And Jess, you know, it only works once. It works once every game, but it only works once. The second time you have to try and do something different, otherwise you get caught out like that, as Sunja is going to lose a lot of HP as Asira, coming in downstairs, is aware that there's one player inside the lobby, is hoping they can catch a timing and get a kill, as Clawberry is going to be able to get that frag onto Dev.
Absolutely. So now Assyria knows that that Jaeger is fully gone, fully out of that lobby and armory area. A 3v5. Heating up to the defenders now. A lot they need to do. That wall is nice and open into games, and well, Foxtail is going to retaliate, getting the pick onto Assyria.
Trying to pull it back a bit more for FRENEMY, as 6 Nation no longer taking a lot of time just to get set up in these rounds. Hella is going to get the kill onto Sunja, and that's the diffuser drop, as Foxtail trying to go for the flank isn't able to land the shots onto Straub, which is going to give them a lot of info that they can push on up. Clawberry inside of the master bedroom needs to recover this diffuser, but Hella is sitting close by, as Marie is able to get that frag onto Lisa. Swing on round, the free fire from Clawberry is good for 1, keeping us at a 2 versus 2. HP slightly in the advantage of FRENEMY, but now more so as Straub goes down. And now it's just Clawberry left alone, 1 versus 2. Does have the diffuser in hand, is going to try and go for a plant as Marie gets that kill onto Straub. Now a definite 2 versus 1. The swing, and it's going to be Foxtail at close range, able to land the headshot, and a 5-1 defensive half for FRENEMY.
5-1 defensive half indeed, but again, you know, it is a little bit trickier on attack on this map, and 6 do play a good Oregon. They do play a good Oregon. We'll see how this is going to go. Again, very curious to see what FRENEMY are going to bring to the table themselves and their operator picks for this attack. Cheeky Thermite coming out.
Cheeky Thermy Wormy.
Cheeky Thermy Wormy.
Yeah, I do like a good Thermite. Not as good as a Hibana on this map. I think Thermite, just what he does is so specific, and it's better replaced by Ace or Hibana most of the time, that unfortunately we don't get to see as much of him as we would like.
I will say though, especially, you know, for example, already they're going to kids, which is a perfect place to give this as an example. If you are picking, you know, the Thermite over the Ace, to be the Thermite, as soon as that wall is ready to be reached open, you have to get up close and personal to that wall. There is a lot of verticality that can come through from that classroom area if someone's just lurking there this or even a shotgun, to be honest, as well. Whereas if you are a ace, you can take a bit more of a distance. You can throw them from the distance. You get that little bit of breathing room. You get a little bit of safety from taking the ace instead. As with the Hibana as well, those Kairos, you shoot them from a distance. So again, it will be very interesting to see if 6 Nation, as soon as they realize it's a Thermite, if they start actually adjusting to that and being like, oh, hang on a second. They have to be very, very static in order to get that wall open. Let's send a C4 downstairs.
Well, as it is, we're going to have to see how FRENEMY choose to attack beyond just statically opening up a wall, as they do have the Zofia with the LMG, 150 bullets throw down range at any given target, as Hella is going to be holding down this big window all by herself. The Claymore is covering one of the jump outs, but ideally you would want information inside a small tower as well, as Deb is going to get that kill onto Straub to start things off. and put things even more in the driver's seat for FRENEMY, as with a 5-1 lead, they've got a couple rounds to play around with here, but I'm sure that they won't want to risk any of it.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. And again, there's a lot of utility there on the side of FRENEMY right now, which they can use to their advantage. Lots of explosive utility as well. Again, technically they could go for a little bit of cheeky vert play themselves if they wanted to get bolshy with Foxtail, but we'll see how that goes. Again, Deb on the Ayana. As expected, Ayana very, very powerful nowadays, and not only a very good way to get rid of any Aruni gates that may be lurking about, but also it can really allow you to go on a bit of a tear and get as much information as possible as to the setup the defender's bringing and the positioning as well. Again, though, a little bit of a standstill now between both teams.
Now, FRENEMY's starting to get these walls open. I think they're waiting for the attic to be in their control before they really start to do anything else, as Marie, I believe she was trying to get open that games room wall, but we might have had an impact trick coming on through and preventing it from getting opened on up, as Foxtail seems to be aware that we have Sunja downstairs inside of security, waiting and holding for the rotations, but this is just tying up one player from the attack, as the defenders can technically get quite a bit out of this if she can stay alive and throw a C4. It's not going to be the case. It's nice timing coming through from Foxtail's good for one, is good for two, as Lisa not prepared for the peak coming up through the hatch. Marie is able to get one, and now it's just Clawberry left alone. 1 versus 4, and it's 1 versus 5 even. No one on the side of FRENEMY died, and they are now sitting on match point, playoff point.
Yeah, absolutely. To get a flawless on your first attacking round as well, that is always a really good sign. And the pressure's certainly on 6 now. They have to win 5 rounds in a row to bring this to overtime. Not the easiest of tasks for anyone, to be honest. And again, this is going to be quite interesting to see how this will go. Pressure's on for 6. This is where it gets, again, just so stressful if you are the side of 6 right now, because it's like we've been so safe with it, and that safety hasn't paid off for us. It hasn't paid off at all, Dino.
Yeah, and this is looking like FRENEMY are gonna be able to walk away with this one. This would give them the 3 points. It would definitely secure them in that top 4 position. But I mean, the 6 just look like they haven't shown up today. They look like they're just not at the races.
Do you know what? I don't think it's, again, I don't think that it's they haven't brought anything good to the table. It's just the energy, the momentum, that safety. It's the safety. They've been way too safe in their attack, and I think I would have liked to have seen them give a bit more of a razzle dazzle, mix it up a little bit.
10 seconds to go.
Much to think about. It's a shame if it goes like a 7-1, that would be a massive shame, because again, this was my predicted spiciest game of the night, and I did think this would go to overtime, but this is far from overtime, Dino.
Yeah, I mean, we've had 2 technical upsets. If this game does end in a 7-1 or a 7-2, had 2 technical upsets tonight, and that we didn't expect Lost Souls to win, and we didn't expect this to be such one-sided affair for either team. So always keeping things interesting is Project Athena, as FRENEMY, they're going to be getting that nice early drone work done, clearing out everything over on this side of the map, and they're going to get a kill to boot, as Deb, continuing the rampage, is able to take down Isira. And now, with less than 2.5 minutes to go, FRENEMY already starting to put the pedal to the metal.
Pedal to the metal indeed. Making their way down into this freezer area. Just looking for a cheeky claymore. Perhaps they're worried themselves about a flank or a kind of extension from the basement side. But again, 6IXNATION, they've hunkered down on site. They've battened down the hatches. And I'm not sure if that's the best play here, Dino.
Yeah, sometimes you just have to get aggressive with it. But, I mean, FRENEMY, they have been watching the flanks all through both of their attacking rounds. They've not given up any potential flanking moments for 6IXNATION. Even if they were going for it, they've still been able to hold down onto these direct pushes themselves as well. Ella is going to get a bit of info on that mirror window. It's going to slow things down and make it more difficult, and possibly cause FRENEMY to have to go for a bit of a pivot in how they want to go for this attack. They are going to have a bit more pressure needing to be coming on in from freezer for Hella's push to sort of have any real effect. But again, there's a mirror window situated there, so it's going to slow things down. Sunja going to get the first kill of this round for 6IXNATION, taking down Jess. As we are going to see Foxtail work their way on deep inside of Freezer, ready for this peak to come on through, but just playing patient is Straub.
Absolutely. I mean, you are going to be patient, aren't you, if you're just firmly plonked behind a mirror window like that. But again, I want to see maybe a bit more aggression down this laundry staircase to deal with that as well, keep people a little bit on their toes. Again, this aggression needs to come through from both sides, to be honest, but more so 6 Nation HQ.
Yeah, FRENEMY, slow and steady so far in this round, has been winning the race. They are tied on man count for the moment, but they're definitely having a lot more control, a lot more presence across the map as a whole. As Sunja has lost a lot of HP, Clawbury has lost a lot of HP, and Hella has worked her way inside of blue and is able to hold this nice angle. Deb has dropped down electrical and had a peek on into the site itself and didn't really see much of anything, which is going to be a good sign for the attackers as Foxtail is able to get that kill onto Sunja, swinging on through the hallway. The action starting to pick on up as Straub inside of Freeze is able to get one. The angle being held, but Straub wins the fight onto Deb. This is now a 2 versus 3. Marie has to get the plant down. The time is so low, but the angle can be held from inside of Freezer. It's going to be Straub playing patient for the win. Hell is able to get Clawbury as time expires. 6 Nation holding on for one more round, Grace.
Holding on for dear life indeed. If they reverse sweep this from a 6-1, I will absolutely lose my... I will just throw my head off. Like, I will just pop up and go... I hope everyone heard that.
That was a very good sound effect.
That's me pulling my head off if they reverse sweep this. Whether they will or not, only time can tell. But again, biting back hard, making sure that they're making FRENEMY work for it. Yeah, okay, you may have got a flawless in this first attacking round for you, but we're not going to let you do that again. We're not going to let you do us like that.
Now, I mean, the defense on downstairs on Oregon is one of the most defender-sided sites. We'll be honest about that. It is just one of the most defender-sided sites. There's not a lot that the attackers can open up in terms of reinforced walls. There's not a lot of angles. You know, there's now with the changes, there's 4 pushes that can come through, but you generally can only commit to 2 or 3 of them at a time, which makes it quite easy to deal with for the defense. So, yes, that's a good round for 6 to win. It's an important round for them to win. It's going to build momentum, but they really struggled. This was a flawless win for FRENEMY. Last time they attacked this top floor. 6 Nation need to think of some way to challenge and to bring this back.
5 seconds to go.
I'm trying to think what would be a nice thing for 6 to do. You know what? I don't know if it would be too spicy for them to go for a spawn kick, and I just think it's me being a goblin to want to see at least someone attempt it, but fair enough. I mean, again, maybe a little bit of verticality needs to come through here, maybe a little bit of time waste. Essentially, it's that idea of hair of the dog that bit you, isn't it? Like, FRENEMY was so good at wasting time with that roam game. Do the same thing to them. 100% do the same thing to them, because they will drone you out. They will try and hunt you down. They will spend a lot of time doing it.
Yeah, Deb going to be losing a lot of HP very early on. Not sure who that fight was with, but Deb has been such an important member of this attack that having her lit up so much so early on is really going to take away one of those key sort of pawns? Claws, that's the word I'm looking for. One of the key claws to the take that FRENEMY are going to want to go for. As Foxtail, once again, on the chase down inside of basement. Deb, not concerned about the low HP, is going to get that kill onto Straub, and Foxtail, so close, could catch the timing, hits the headshot anyway, and that's going to be Sunja going down. And this round, Grace is starting off heavily in FRENEMY's favor.
Oh, it really is, and that was a really beautiful chase down of those Romans, but Marie as well getting a pick onto it. Sarah, a 5v2 already. Could this be another flawless round for FRENEMY? I mean, Deb and Foxtail's HP so low. They are going to attempt to get that wall open, but the new jammer is currently blocking it as well. There we go. Healer taking down Lisa as well. Clawbury getting a bit cheeky with it, but there's very little she can do, and there we go. What an incredible performance, Odino, from FRENEMY.
Yeah, FRENEMY putting everyone on notice with that one, securing their spot in the top 4, securing their spot in the playoffs. Unfortunately, that means that Lost Souls who I may have given a little bit of unnecessary hope to earlier, are unable to make it all the way to those playoffs, to those finals. But it does, you know, it cements our top four for now. It's going to make things interesting. It's going to make things exciting. As I think, Grace, we've got an interview coming on up.
We do have a cheeky little interview, which we do love to see. Again, please welcome
Oh,
the lovely, lovely, lovely Foxtail. Hello, Foxtail.
hi.
But
I thought you were going to lead that. Then
oh,
do you
no.
know?
You always do the
I
first
knew
question.
Okay. I'm very sorry. No, Foxtel, fair play. 7-2 victory in what everyone thought was actually going to be a pretty close match, to be honest. Again, there has been a little bit of rockiness the last few weeks for you guys. And I think that, certainly, especially given the roster changes, everyone thought this would be a lot closer. Maybe it would go to overtime, but absolutely not. I mean, tons of flawless rounds for one. How are you feeling right now?
I feel like super happy, relieved, relaxed, just glad that we won.
There was a lot riding on this game. Winning it obviously means that you're now in playoffs. What was the plan to prepare? Was there a lot of personal motivation going into this one, or were you just looking eyes on the prize, go for the playoffs, get that win, and secure it?
It wasn't just an ordinary simple match we needed to win. It was something more personal. And motivation helped us win. Like, we really, really wanted to win. We were sure we were going to win this. And yeah, we did.
I mean, to be fair, you more than won it, in my opinion. You absolutely stomped that. Like, that was incredible.
True.
Again, it was the difference in energy that you were bringing every single round. Like, one round you'd be a bit more passive with it, the next round you'd be more aggressive, and that really
True.
threw a spanner in the works for the side of Six. And they weren't meeting you with that same retaliation, which was quite unusual. Again, I'm wondering if they just got a bit shook by the first few rounds that were going on, but. Again, that must be incredible, and you are still firmly in that top 4 position.
Yeah, true.
Do you feel like was there any fear that perhaps you guys would get knocked down? Because again, the thing is if this did go to overtime, you and Six wouldn't have really been in the top 4. It would have actually gone to Lost Souls, and then obviously if Six had won, they would have taken that top 4. So you've essentially won in such a way that has prevented all of this potential chaos for you, and you've maintained your spot.
We had no fear, to be fair, because we were sure we were going to win, because we screamed a lot like for the last 2 weeks. And yeah, like I wasn't even nervous. Like I was confident and relaxed, but I expected a much more difficult match, and this one was pretty easy for us, as you can see according to the score.
I think there was definitely a lot of expectation from Six here. That again, perhaps just a few rattles. It would be interesting if we could interview both sides, but unfortunately we can't. I really do want to know Six's point of view about how that went for them, though, because again, they just weren't bringing that same level of retaliation to the things that you guys were doing. And Dino, I don't know if you have any other questions really there to do with that, but.
Well, seeing as you've now found yourselves in playoffs, you're going to be moving into a best of 3 format. You're going to have to be going up against some of the best teams in the league. Are there any teams in particular that you're looking forward to playing, looking forward to really test their map pool and go to all 3 maps on?
Yeah, I think so.
Who?
Which teams?
Which teams? I don't know.
Oh, all of them. Okay.
All of them, yeah.
Fair enough. That is a fair enough. Well, thank you very much for talking.
Thank you
us.
too.
And again, I hope you guys are getting on the Uber Eats tonight in victory. Thank you again for talking to us, and we'll look forward to seeing you in the upcoming matches.
Thank you too.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
That was spicy. That was very spicy, and I respect it. I'm here for it. I'm completely here for it.
A lot of confidence. Gotta love it.
The sheer confidence. I love it. I really do. Again, we speak of confidence. Some of the flanks that Deb was going for multiple times in a row, Jess multiple times in a row. But the audacity. I love it. I'm here for it. Again, for Six, they've had a really good season. That's an incredible roster. Excited to see them going forward. It's just a shame it is what it is, but at the same time, that is a bit of an oof. I did think it was going to go to overtime, and I'm a bit sad about it, to be honest. I'm a little bit sad, but it'll be fine. What also will be fine is these fine final 2 games that we have coming up as well for you, ladies and gentlemen. Do not go anywhere. We will be back after a short little break.